The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and Your Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Tuesday. I lost track of the days. Tuesday episode of Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you, and we are ready for a great show today. Once again, we are brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I'm going to put their logo up on the screen so you know exactly where to look. If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, make sure to check out our friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, and we try to do the same here every day on this show. Perfect time to also kind of point out that if you're looking for a sponsorship or you want to advertise with YSN, there is no better time than now. We are starting the spring sports schedule. We are going to have a lot of baseball and softball on the network over the next couple months, leaking into the summertime as well. There's no better time to get your name out there. So if you want to advertise on YSN, head over to ysnlive.com/advertise. Check out all the packages we have. Fill out the forms on that webpage, and we will get you squared away with a partnership with our network. We are so excited that so many people, so many great sponsors are interested in helping us grow and pouring into us like we pour into our student athletes. So if you want to advertise, once again, the spot to go, ysnlive.com/advertise for all your needs. We, like I said, have a great show for you today. We're going to recap yesterday's action. Not a full slate, I guess I would say. There were still some teams that were dodging the rain. We were definitely dodging Mother Nature, but we did get games in, and let me tell you, they did not disappoint. The games that we did get in were just really good softball and baseball games. And then we will also have an interview played for you today. Kevin Young, the head coach of the Hoban Knights softball team, was able to talk to me last night. We're going to play his interview for you today. That Hoban Knights team, coming off a season where they went all the way to the regional finals, lost to eventual state champion or runner-up. I can't remember if Triway won it or if they lost in the championship, but a very, very good Worcester Triway team that beat them out of the regional finals. But Hoban brings a lot of people back. 7 seniors this year. They are feeling very good about their chances to get back to the regional finals this year and maybe take that next step and get to Firestone Stadium. So can't wait to have you guys hear that conversation with their head coach a little bit later on in the show. Let's start with the recaps. Let's go into what was probably the best game, actually the best game of the night. I'm just going to say it. This is my opinion, so we can just say it. And it might end up being the best game of the season. I have never seen something that go down quite the way it went down last night. Howland and Fitch got together on the baseball diamond, and just to set the scene for this matchup, last year Howland, a team that was right below 500, finished 9-10, but they swept Austintown Fitch. It was probably one of those series that really frustrated the Falcons. They lost 3-1, and I think the other one was 9-2. So they got beat up by the Falcons last year. They got beat up by the Tigers last year, I should say. Were swept by Howland. This year, Falcons wanted revenge, right? They wanted to come in. They wanted to find a way to beat Howland this year. It was the conference opener. It was the a big game over there in Fitch, their second home game of the year. And it did not start the way anyone wants a game to start. They fell behind early. They actually took the early lead 1-0, but then Howland tied it in the second. They scored 4 runs in the fifth, 2 runs in the sixth, and in the top of the seventh, 3 runs. So the late tumble of that runs put Austintown Fitch down 10-1 in the bottom of the seventh inning. 10-1, bottom of the seventh inning, and that sets the stage for one of the best comebacks you will ever see in your life. Inning opened up with a walk, and then drop third strike, okay, and then a triple by DeFlorio, and this would not be his last lap either. And then a walk. Things just started to unravel. A double made it 11-6. Another walk, another pair of walks, 3 walks in a row brought in the 7th run. A walk brought in the 8th run. Walk brought in the 9th run, and then Florio, who hit the triple to start the scoring in the inning, comes up again. Walk off RBI double, and Austintown Fitch comes back from literally the jaws of defeat, down 10-1, wins this game 11-10 in one of the most dramatic fashions you can ever win a baseball game. What a way to open the AAC season for Austintown Fitch. 11-10, they get the victory in, like I said, dramatic fashion, and they will again play Howland tonight in a rematch. This time it will be, I think it's going to be at home. Last night was a home game. They're gonna play at Fitch tonight, and obviously, last night Fitch was the home team. That's why they were able to walk off. So if they do play at Fitch tonight, then the Howland would be the home team, just in Fitch's stadium. Same thing with the softball team. They were able to square up last night, Fitch versus Howland, and this was another really good softball game, but for opposite reasons, right? We saw a lot of offense on the baseball diamond, 11-10, and we saw pitching like you wouldn't believe in Fitch on the baseball side. Just maybe 100 feet across that little walkway from baseball to softball. It's so close that some foul balls got hit into play on the baseball field. They had to stop play for a minute to grab the loose softball. But in this softball game between Fitch and Howland, it was Sydney Watts, it was Brooke Tater, and Alexa Spengler. Howland used kind of a pitch by committee approach. They gave Spengler 2 innings and then put Brooke Tater in for 2. I mean, in for the next 4, I should say. In for the next 5 innings. 5. My math is terrible today. Welcome to a Tuesday morning. 5 innings. The next 5 innings, Brooke Tater came in and pitched. And I think if Spengler didn't get hurt at third, he got hit by a really hard hit ball off the foot. Maybe they would have switched it up again, because in softball, if you leave the circle once as a starter, you're allowed to re-enter. So it was not the end of the book on Spengler for pitching, so they might have brought her back in, and the game plan for Coach Waite might have been to just always keep the Falcons on their toes by switching up the pitching styles and make this a pitch by committee. Obviously, Spengler got hurt, so they had to roll with Brooke Tater, and Tater pitched toe to toe with who a lot of people think is the best pitcher in the area, and Sydney Watts. Tater just went right at this Fitch lineup. And really, the only thing that hurt her in the 6th inning when it was scoreless was a defensive miscue that took a runner from first, stole second, an error, and then an error got her to third as well. So what should have been just a runner on first with 1 out turned into a runner on third with 1 out, facing McKenna Hogan. That situational hitting gets a lot easier. I think Hogan's at bat became more of a can you put the ball in play, and can you try to hit it to the right side of the field, or get it in the air in any kind of way? There's a lot of ways to score with a runner on first and less than 2 outs. So McKenna Hogan's at bat got a whole lot less pressure filled. She hit a base hit that kind of found the hole in the left field. The only RBI of the day, her first RBI of the season, the Falcons' first RBI of the season. It was all they would need. Sydney Watts does what she did in the last opening day last year against Canfield, where she struck out 19. She strikes out 19 again. gave up 2 hits, and they were both to Zoe King. And I watched both at bats, and this was kind of interesting because Zoe King is a taller batter. And I felt like what that height did, it was interesting. And this is just what I saw from Ty's angle. Cindy Watts has 3 levels of a rise ball, right? So she has her chase rise ball that comes up here. Definitely her strikeout pitch. She wants you to chase at it. And then she has her rise ball that's just out of the zone, right? So she'll try. It's still a chase pitch, but it's more of a you don't throw it when you throw it in those middle of the count situations, right? So if you're like 2-1, 1-1, kind of like that, where you want to buy a strike, maybe get her to change, but if she doesn't, it's no big deal. You throw the ball that's like right here, right above the strike zone for a rise ball, and then she can also throw the rise ball for a strike. She'll get at the top of the zone. For most hitters, Cindy Watts' rise ball comes up to here for that mid-level rise ball up to the shoulders. Zoe King, the height, her mid-level rise ball kind of tailed into the sternum kind of area right there. And that meant that Zoe King could really do a good job getting her hands on top of the rise ball and sending it. And she hit a double in the 5th inning where Howland had their best opportunity to. Well, was it I think it was actually the top of the 6th, right? Okay, because they put 2 on. So in the top of the 6th, she cranked a rise ball that was supposed to probably be here, ended up being here, and she just got right on top of it because of her height. Cranked it to the center field wall for a double. That was really the only thing Cindy Watts gave up were 2 hits and I think a walk. Because in the 6th inning after the double, she walked the next hitter, but then 19 strikeouts kind of made up for all that, and she washed her hands of that, and she moves on to today, where I think it'll be the same pitching matchup. One of the things that makes softball great is you see a great pitching matchup in one day, and you can see it again the next day because there's obviously no pitch count limit. So in all likelihood, especially if Spangler isn't good to go, it'll be Brooke Tater versus Sydney Watts again today. That'll be at Austintown Fitch. 4:30 is a first pitch again. They're trying to make room for a JV game after. So 4:30 first pitch at Austintown Fitch, and that game will be a Howland home game. Howland will be the home team, but it'll be at Austintown Fitch. So it'll be Howland's home game, but it'll be at Fitch because of field conditions for Howland. That was not the only great pitching performance we saw yesterday either. Out of United, Tori Firth pitches a no-hitter through 5 innings, and she also hits a home run. 4 different United Eagles hit home runs, 18-0. United gets to win over Lisbon in their first game of the season, and there's no better way to start your year than pitching a no-hitter. I'll tell you that much. She looked electric. 5 innings. I mean, her offense obviously gave her a ton of help, which makes her able to get super aggressive with her pitches, which makes it twice as hard to go up against her. And United gets, like I said, the blowout win 18-0 over Lisbon. They will play Lisbon again on Wednesday. The United boys baseball team, they got the win over Lisbon as well. 11-0 was the final score there. Indian Creek was able to beat Beaver Local 10-0 on the softball diamond. Southern Local softball got the win over Latonia 15-0. We already talked about the Fitch baseball score. 11-10 was the final there. Southern Local baseball got the win over Latonia 10-0, the final score for that one. And we'll head into the recap of that as we got some wonderful stats from our good friends over at Game Changer, and Mike Wolfgang did a wonderful job writing a great recap on that Southern Local win over Latonia. Let's check out what went down in Salineville last night. As you'll look at the 10 runs. Brady Ketchum, who was in our All-Star game on Saturday, he got 3 hits. He drove in 6 runs, and some other bats were Aiden Spangler and Chuck McCauley also got big hits. Mason Pitts put together hits, and they all had runs batted in for the Indians. Spallinger also started the game on the mound for Southern. He gave up just 1 hit for his day. He went 2 innings followed by McCauley and Pitts, who also pitched in relief for the Indians. Southern will play on Thursday as they will welcome in Western Reserve. First pitch slated for 5 o'clock p.m. So Southern gets the big win on the baseball field, and they're pitching and hitting, both doing it really well. Multiple hitters in that lineup contributing RBI. That's a good sign for the Indians when they can have multiple players in a lineup. Kind of hurts you. You see a lot of baseball teams at this level maybe have one or two hitters that are really, really good that you do not want to pitch to, and then the rest of the lineup maybe, I don't want to say is bad, but definitely ones that you can go into, you can attack. So anytime you can have an early season game where you prove that we have 5, 6, 7 hitters in our lineup that can really hurt you and come up with hits, then that can really make scouting your team hard and difficult for the pitching staff and a pitching coach, because you can't just get complacent against one hitter or two hitters and then get super aggressive with the other ones. You have to make sure that you're hitting the corners, hitting your spots against 6, 7 hitters in that Southern lineup, which is always obviously making it tough on the other pitcher, on the other pitching staff as well. Because you got to be more fine-tuned. You got to be able to hit your spots, and that's the name of the game for pitching. But you can get away with it against some lineups, right? You can get away with it with a lineup that maybe you can pitch around 2 or 3 guys. But in a lineup like Southern, where they can have 5, 6, 7 guys come at you and put good swings on the ball, you can't get away with missing your spots at all in the lineup. And obviously, Lisbon learned that last night. They get the loss. Southern gets to win 10-0, the final score there on the baseball diamond. Some other scores for you coming in from the baseball field last night. We saw Indian Creek baseball beat Beaver Local 10-0, same score as the softball game. And one more score to recap. We go from baseball and softball to lacrosse, as it was a very good match in Hoban, as Mooney went to town. Went to Akron to play the Knights. Sudden death came about in overtime as they beat Akron Hoban 11-10. Sarah Shaler was the hero of the night. She scored the game-winning goal, and she had a total of 4. Ella Zali had 7 goals for the Cardinals to lead them, and 4 ground balls as well. Melissa Ray, 5 saves in goal. So Cardinals still undefeated after a thriller in Akron, 11-10. Once again, the final score there. Mooney will be back in action tonight as they travel to Poland to take on the Bulldogs. That start time is scheduled for 6 p.m. So 6 o'clock tonight, undefeated Cardinals go to Poland to try to beat the Bulldogs in the girls lacrosse field. We thank Coach Shaheen for always updating us with stats and a recap of them so we can keep up our coverage of Mooney lacrosse as well. So with that being said, those are your recaps of the day. We had some great softball, some great baseball, some really great performances that are going to be talked about all week. But we kind of strive into the next part of the show, which is going to be interviews. We're going to take a quick break. On the other end, we will hear from the head coach of the Archbishop Hoban Knights in Kevin Yun. So do not go anywhere. We'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Back in a bit, everybody.
Locally owned and operated, Sheely's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find Flex Deal and more at Sheely's Furniture and Appliance, because the best things in life happen at home.
How lucky are we to have not one, but 2 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring golf instruction by PGA professionals, a state-of-the-art practice range, a PGA of America recognized pro shop, kids programs, and a relaxing grill room for a memorable golf experience. For more information or to schedule a tee time, visit millcreekmetroparks.org.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance or visit us on the web. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com.
Going from mindful to mindful sometimes requires a helping, healing hand. Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness offers a continuum of mental health and wellness care. At Insight, we're changing the way you receive counseling and wellness services with experienced licensed clinicians and expertly trained wellness staff. With 4 locations in Mahoning and Columbiana County, along with telehealth services, Insight offers clients quick access to care when they need it. Transform your mental health and wellness at Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness.
Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every day, and we thank them for their constant support of not just this show on Running Point, but everything that we do here on YSN. We're going to go into the interview section of the show. We're going to hear from a great head coach in Kevin Yun, who is heading up the Archbishop Hoban Knights, coming off a season where they went to the regional finals last year. They lost to Tri-Way, but they are kind of trying to get back to that level. And this year it looks like a great year for the Knights. Seven seniors on the roster. Our first season covering them as a YSN school. We are so excited for our continued coverage of Hoban. And here is an interview with the Knights head coach, Kevin Yun, on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Enjoy this conversation. Anthony Hartwig with you for another spring sports preview. I'm joined by the softball coach of the Archbishop Hoban Knights and Kevin Yun. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We are so excited to kind of have our first spring season with Hoban, and with that, we needed to kind of introduce us to this program. We know you made the regional finals last year, played a great Tri-Way team that made it all the way to state. What kind of things did you take away from last year that you're bringing into this year's team?
Well, we actually return quite a bit of players. We have 7 seniors that are coming back. Last year was a special year. I mean, we really weren't expecting to do as well as we did. The kids were real eager to be coached, to be pushed, and we're hoping to continue that same energy and that we did last year. So
when you look at the energy and the things that you guys want to do this year, obviously, like you said, you're returning a lot of players. Do you think there's a lot of hunger from the way last year ended and getting so close to punching a ticket to Akron? Do you think there's a lot of hunger in this program this year?
There's a lot of hunger. There's one little setback though, because of the competitive balance. We were Division II last year, and now we're in Division I. So we have a whole nother different animal facing this year, moving up to Division I. So.
Well, the good news for you is you guys put together a really strong schedule. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first, I want to meet the roster. I want you to go down some of the players and some of the big names in Hoban softball and introduce us to your team and some of the faces that Hoban fans should know this year.
All right. Well, first we'll start right in the circle with Faith Porter. She's back. She had a great year last year, first team all district. Pull up some stats for her. She pitched 159 innings for us last year, had 190 strikeouts. So she's back in the circle. So we're excited about that. Next we have in center field, Lacey Corals, another first team all district player. Had an excellent year last year. So hoping to pick up right where she kind of left off. She ended up hitting 415 last year, scored 34 runs. What else did she stole 20 20, 23 bases or something around there. But so yeah, we got 2 first team all districts back, and then we actually have 2 more all district players back, 2 all honorable mention. First one's Kennedy Bray. She's another senior second baseman. She led the team in hitting last year with a 427 average. Drove in 28 runs, scored 27 runs. And then Taylor Gehring, she's a junior. She was a sophomore last year, so she's back, another all district honorable mention. She plays left field. She scored 29 runs, 27 RBIs. And then kind of just working our way around, we got Sydney Conti back behind the plate. She had a great junior year last year. I think where is she? She hit 337, hit 5 home runs, drove in 27 runs. And then we've got Nyla Durham back. She's moved from third base over to shortstop this year. We lost Ellie Hartman to graduation at Youngstown State this year. And then at first base, we have Robin Ryan back. Had an excellent year last year. Actually led our team in hit by pitches. I think she was hit 13 times, but still hit 379, scored 29 runs. And then in right field, we have Mackenzie Wood. She's stepping in. She played, she DP'd for us at the end of the year last year. We lost Lexi Hart, who's playing at Otterbein this year as a freshman. So she's stepping in right there. So, and then at third base, we have Julia Scaglione. So she's kind of stepping into that starting role with Nyla moving over to shortstop. She's stepping in at third base. So
when I hear you talk about your roster, I hear a lot of seniors, like you said, 7 of them. What's it mean to a coach to have the blessing of that many leaders on your team and that many girls that you can really lean on to be leaders on the field?
Oh, it can be a blessing. It can be a curse. But no, we have a great group of seniors, and yeah, I can lean on any one of them. It's kind of nice, if there's something I need to tend to at the field or, off to the side, I don't have to worry about what they're doing because they know what to do. They know what it takes to win now. So it's really nice having those 7 senior leaders that can, and actually and teach the younger girls, what it takes to be part of Hoban softball. So
let's talk about the schedule you put together. I teased it earlier. Obviously, you're an independent school, which means you have the freedom to put together a really big schedule that is going to prepare you for that Division I tournament. What are some teams that you're really excited about going into this season, excited about testing yourself against, and excited about being able to play?
Well, I mean, we started off our home opener Saturday. We actually dropped a game to Perry, the Federal League. They're tough every year. They have Grace Miller back in the circle, who's going to play at Northwood in Michigan next year. It was a tough game. We were tied going into the 7th inning, 3-3, and they put one up. And ended up getting us 4-3. But, those are the kind of games that we want to play and prepare us. We're playing Jackson this week. We play Glen Oak. We're playing Hoover. We're playing Fitch. We're playing Triway, Amherst Steel, Brunswick, Canfield, Ursuline, Lake, you name it. We went out and tried to get them all and just get us ready for that tournament. So,
and what I like is you have teams from all around the region. I mean, you're seeing you're coming down here for Canfield. You're playing Triway, who's in Worcester. You're gathering it from everywhere across the state of Ohio. I like that. I like being able to do that. Let's talk about this game against
Oh, good.
I was going to ask about the game against Perry. Obviously, like you said, it was 4-3. It was the only softball team to play in the Ysn family on Saturday. You were able to dodge some weather that we had down here in our Tri-County area. But the interesting thing about that game is you guys were down 2-0. You came back, you tied it. Then they come right back and lead 3-2. You tie it again. What was it like to see your team always stay a couple of goals in the game?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were down last year in a number of games, and we never panic, you know. And I don't. We could have tied or taken the lead, but we play 7 innings for a reason. And but no, I don't think that we're ever out of any game. They're confident, sometimes too confident, and so yeah. I mean, being down, I think we look back because we kind of compared. We actually beat Perry last year, and they jumped on us and took a 3-run lead, and we actually came back. So yeah, it wasn't anything different than what we've done in the past. So I'm kind of excited just to see how the girls do throughout the rest of the year and the schedule that we put together, and just keep battling till tournament time. So
this is our first Coach's Corner with you, so I want to get to know you a little bit and what your softball background is and how you got into coaching this sport and some of the things you love so much about coaching it at this level.
Yeah, so I actually started coaching. So I had a daughter that played. I don't know if you can see in the background back there. She played at Ohio University, and she's actually on the staff with us this year. She was on our staff last year too. But so that's how I got started. Gosh, I don't know, 16 years ago. And then from just coaching summer league. And doing lessons down at Grand Slam. I used to, be side by side with Jerry Goodpasture at Hoover, and we just talked all the time. And, he was doing his softball lessons. I was doing some baseball lessons. And at the time I started to pick up a few kids, softball girls for hitting, and while he was doing pitching lessons. And one thing led to another, and my job, I don't work in the school, but my job allowed me some flexibility, and I joined his staff, about 12 years ago. And I was at Hoover for 10 years. And then my daughter graduated, and I thought, well, it's time to get my own program, and Hoban was gracious enough to give me an opportunity. So that's where I'm at now.
Hoover is a powerhouse in division. They won the region last year, went to what would it mean if down the line, that kind of matchup kind of took its place and was on a big stage where you got to play against a team that you used to call home?
Well, we do get to play them on April 24th, but yeah, it would be really, really nice to meet them, either in the regionals or in the state. That would be that'd be huge for myself and for Katie, my daughter, who that's her alma mater and who she played for. So, but
that's looking way into the future, and I know coaches don't like to do that too much. Let's talk about some of the goals that this team has set in the narrow kind of thing, and some of the things that you want to see your team accomplish this season.
So we're not one that really we don't just set a goal. I mean, they know the expectation. They know, ultimately at the end, that's where we want to be. But we haven't set any goals as far as, wins and losses, or we haven't really marked any games on the calendar or anything. They just know we want to go out and just compete each game and take each game, as they come. So.
With that being said, do you like players that are able to set maybe game goals for themselves and say hey, this game I want to reach this for myself, and I want to set those kind of goals to keep them always raising that bar per se?
Yeah, I mean, I know. See, with the kids that I'm coaching around, they're I don't like to put any added pressure. I mean, they've got pressure enough. You're at Hoban, where sports it's a tradition of winning, and so that they've already got that, and they get it. They get enough of it from me. But yeah, I know some of them do have some goals. But I'd rather them just keep those to themselves and really put the team first. We really believe in the team aspect. We believe in wanting the best for your teammates and cheering your teammates on. And that's really what we drive and what we push as team first.
We've been talking to a lot of Hoban coaches in the winter, and we talk about the success that the Hoban athletic room has and the tradition it has. And you bring up a good point. That success is great, and it gets a lot of attention, but it also can bring some pressure along with it. How do you navigate that as a coach to not let that kind of seep into the girls' headspace?
Yeah, I mean, like even after Saturday, we kind of talked, and I just tell them, that's one game. That's one game. It's not our ultimate goal. And I told them, Saturday, we just got to keep getting better. Each practice, each game, learn from each practice, each game, and just take it game by game. Like I said, they put the pressure on themselves. So I kind of, I don't want to add anything to that. So.
How would you describe your in-game coaching style? Are you more of the aggressive kind of coach? Are you more of the conservative kind of coach? Does it depend on the situation? How would you describe kind of yourself as a softball coach as far as in the situationals go?
So I always believe that I'm pretty black and white as far as, what the things that we do, as far as, situations. I'm not like a kind of guy that's going to go out and, just bunt all the time or just swing away all the time. We kind of I let the game kind of dictate the situation and what we're going to do. And just, get a feel for, how the game's going. If it's late in the game and we're not moving the ball or something, then, we might try to play some small ball. But I mean, ideally, I let the kids get up there and do what they practice doing, and that's swinging the bat. And as far as our defense, I mean, we've got a couple different defensive situations, different bunt coverages, different first and third situations, and we practice all of them. And we're prepared for everything, hopefully. So, but I wouldn't say I'm aggressive, but I wouldn't say I'm laid back either. I mean, we've got some speed, and we like to cause a little havoc on the base pass and be aggressive. I mean, I've always told them, I'll never be mad at you for being too aggressive. Now there's a fine line between being aggressive and kind of being, in bad base running. So, but yeah, that's my philosophy.
One of the things I want to do before we get you out of here, I want to make sure you get the chance to talk about all the people behind the scenes that help you make this program what it is. I know you talked about your daughter on your staff as well, but I'm sure there are other people on staff that bring a lot to this program behind the scenes that help you kind of build it to what it is. So want to give you the time to give them a shout out and tell us about them and what they bring to Hoban.
Yeah, great. So my, like I said, Katie is a varsity assistant. And then my other varsity assistant is Troy Collins. He brings a wealth of knowledge, from the softball world. He's a travel coach. He coached years with the Wolfpack organization, and now he's with the Outlaw organization. So he does a great job. He's the kind of guy, he's in that dugout, and, anytime there's a situation or a breakdown in the defense or a breakdown on our base running or anything, and they come in the dugout, he's right there to, go over the situation. And we try to make adjustments right in the game. We don't want to wait until the next day at practice, and then my other coach is Kelsey Murphy. She's our head JV coach. So she's doing a great job with the younger girls. And then, I got great support at the school with, Matt Bing is our new athletic director this year, kind of took over for Coach T, and then Corey Westover is the assistant athletic director. They've been great as far as support. So,
Coach, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and giving us a solid preview of Hope and softball. Like I said, we're so happy that you're a part of the Ysn family. We can't wait to get out and cover your games and talk to you more as the season goes on. Hopefully, we're talking about a lot of hope and success as the season goes on. We thank you again for your time, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right. Great, Anthony. Great talking to you, and glad to be a part of the family this year. So,
all right.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
You're looking to your future, preparing for your goals, and they're closer than you think. Because here, success is part of the plan. It's a place where academic and social opportunities are meant to prepare you for life, not just the next 4 years. You'll be equipped to face new challenges and turn hard work into a career. You're ready for your success to take root. And here's where it starts. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Rookie mistake. I probably make it once a week. So I apologize for being muted, but this is Running Point. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in today to Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends. Going to put them back up on Greenwood at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. And we try to do the same here on this show every single day. You heard before the break, interview with the head coach of the Hoban Knights and Kevin Yoon. And we thank him for his time. What a great softball team we're going to have. Really impressed with Sydney Conti. I think she's a really good backstop, a really great power hitter. She hit a 2-run jack in their first game against Maslin Perry to tie up the game. She brings a lot of thunder to that lineup. They have a lot of speed too. Nyla Durham, future college softball player. She committed earlier this winter. Their Faith Porter, their pitcher, is bringing up a lot of innings of experience. Last year pitched a huge bulk of their innings a season ago. Trying to gather some information on Hoban. Like I said, it's the first season we've been covering them, but we thank Coach Yoon for being kind enough to give us some time and give us a solid preview of the Knights and what they're looking forward to this year. Like I said, last season, one step away from a state tournament berth. They lost in the regional finals against Triway. They're going to try to punch that ticket this year, but they do take a step up. They're in Division 1 this year instead of Division 2, so they'll have to deal with the Division 1 bracket. But they have a lot of Division 1 teams that are going to be in the region on that schedule. They started off with Maslin Perry. They're going to be in that region out of the Federal League. And Perry's not too far off from a couple of years ago where they finished in the middle of the pack of that Federal League, but then went on to win a district. So, those Federal teams are no joke. They play in a very tough softball conference. Green, Hoover, Perry, Jackson is in there as well. just very, very good softball conference that you have to kind of navigate if you're a Federal League team. So Hoban has a lot of those teams on the schedule out of the Federal League, but like I said in that interview, kind of cool to see him come down here a couple of times and play some of the teams, some of the great programs we have down here as well. They'll play Fitch this year. They'll play Canfield. They'll play Ursuline. Those are three really good softball teams that will wind up on Hoban's schedule. So we'll have a lot of Hoban covered throughout the season. Ty Bartell is going to do the bulk of the games that they've come that are up there in Akron. He'll be covering a bulk of their softball and baseball games. And then they'll have some other faces and some other voices cover them when they come down into our neck of the woods and play teams like Canfield and Ursuline and Fitch. Although Ty's going to take that Fitch game too. If I know anything about Ty, he'll take that Fitch game for sure when the Knights come in to play Austintown Fitch in Austintown. That's a little ways off, but as far as games that we have tonight, it is a full slate of baseball and softball games. It is dry. It is kind of sunny in Boardman right now, and there are definitely clouds out, but I see the sun peeking through my window. We'll look at the Storm Tracker 21 forecast for first pitch. You look at it, and at 5 o'clock, which is first pitch for most of these teams, it's going to be 48 degrees and cloudy, but no rain in the forecast at all. Should be dry all night for baseball and softball. A little bit chilly, but I'm telling you, it has been worse in the spring for baseball and softball. That's for sure. We have been out in 40-degree weather, 36-degree weather. There are times when you're struggling to get games in, so it's like, oh, it's 35, but you know what? Let's just go play. I think 32 is like you can't play if it's below freezing. It's kind of a unwritten rule of most of these high schools, but if it's at all playable, they play. And we have been out in much colder than 49. So 49, it's not ideal, but we're gonna be out there in full force for these baseball and softball games. A lot of opening days because a lot of games got canceled last night. So a lot of opening days today on this wonderful Tuesday afternoon. Here are the games that we'll have on the network tonight. We'll start with baseball, then run down the softball, and then we'll come back up and tell you all the games that are happening that won't be on the network tonight. So you can get a feel of all the teams that'll be in action tonight. Actually, you know what we're going to do? First, we're going to start with the cancellations. Let's start with that. Start with the games that have been canceled today. Not nearly as many as yesterday, which is always a good sign. But here are the games that are not happening today. Boardman at Champion Baseball, that has been canceled. Geneva at Lakeside Baseball has been canceled. And Lowville and McDonald has been canceled as well. So those three games not happening on the baseball side of things. Softball, we also have three games canceled. St. John at Warren JFK, not happening on the softball fields. Brookfield going to Pymatuning Valley is not happening. That game has been canceled. And then Lowville at McDonald has been canceled. So that's the bad news. But let's brighten up your day and get to the games that will be on the network. We have 4 baseball games going to be called today. And we'll start with Girard at Niles. Brian going to have his first call of the season as the Dragons take on the Indians. 5 o'clock first pitch there in Niles. Howland goes to Austintown Fitch. Noah Rick's going to have the call there. 5 o'clock first pitch there. As far as we know, it might be 4:30. Be prepared for a 4:30 start because I know the softball team is starting early to abide for a JV game after. Baseball might follow suit. So just be prepared. Might be a 4:30 start time, 4:35, somewhere around there for Austintown Fitch and Howland. Jefferson will travel the South Range. Chris Galucci and Jimmy Powell will have the call for you at there. 5 o'clock is your first pitch. Lakeview goes to Southern on scene 3, and that one will be Cooper Chavone on the call for that one on scene 3 at 7 o'clock. Scene 3 at 7 o'clock. Those are the games that will be on the network as far as baseball. The softball games on the network tonight. Howland will be at Austintown Fitch. That's a 4:30 start. 4:30 first pitch. Ty Bartell will be on the call. I will be down in Hubbard as Poland opens the season against the Eagles. 5 o'clock first pitch there. And then Bristol will be at Ursuline at YSU Softball Complex. Tim Corso making his debut on YSN. We're going to welcome him along aboard to the family with a great Ursuline softball team, and they will open their season once again against Bristol at the lovely YSU softball complex. 5 o'clock is your first pitch there. So now let's jump back up to baseball. Get your baseball minds back right. These are the games that are still happening. But as of now, we do not have an announcer there yet. We always work to get announcers at places, so this could change. Always keep up with our live games page at ysnlive.com/live. Quinn Pushkar is always putting in so much hard work to make sure as many games get covered as possible. I'm sure his fingers are texting really fast, trying to get people that are free to go out to some of these games with the dry weather coming our way. But here are the games that are happening, all right? So St. John will be at Warren JFK. This will be at Eastwood Field at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock first pitch there. Jackson Milton will be at Springfield on the baseball diamond. 5 o'clock first pitch. Mooney will be at West Branch. 5 o'clock first pitch there. Cheney will be at East. That is a 5 o'clock first pitch. Matthews will be at LeBray. That's going to be a 5 o'clock game. Middle Ridge will be going up against Western Reserve on Scene 1 at 7 o'clock. Scene 1 at 7 o'clock there, Middle Ridge, Western Reserve. And then Sebring will be at Waterloo. That is a 5 o'clock start time. We'll go to the softball games that are happening that you can go out and check out. Bloomfield will be at Cheney at the Field of Dreams in Boardman. 5 o'clock first pitch there. Garfield travels to West Branch. That'll be a heck of a game. That's a 5 o'clock first pitch. Girard goes to Niles. Jackson Milton opens their MVAC slate with Springfield. These two teams are thought to be really big contenders inside that conference. This is a big game for both of them, opening up the season. McCaitlin Thornhill, Holly McCullough going at it last year, pitcher's duel, a combined 20-plus strikeouts by both of them. Should be a fun one in Springfield. John Marshall softball going to Edison. That's a 5 o'clock first pitch. Madonna, not the singer, going to Beaver Local. 5 o'clock first pitch there. Maslin will be at Louisville at 5 o'clock. Matthews will be at LeBray. Sebring at Waterloo. Jefferson's going to go to South Range tonight. This game was originally scheduled to be at Jefferson. They have moved tonight's game to South Range, and South Range will travel to Jefferson tomorrow. So that's a little adjustment in your schedule if you're looking at the schedule that came out before the season started. So do not go to Jefferson tonight, South Range fans. You are at South Range. You're at home. 5 o'clock first pitch there. Lakeview will travel to Struthers. That's a 5 o'clock first pitch. Boardman at Columbiana. This is a pickup game. So this one is another one that will not be on your original schedule. If you're looking at the one that came out before the season, this is a pickup game. They picked each other up. Boardman at Columbiana at Firestone Park. 5 o'clock is your first pitch there. Wellsville will be at East Palestine tonight on the softball diamond as well. 5 o'clock first pitch there. So we have, as of now, like I said, always keep track of the live games page on ysnlive.com/live. But as of now, 3 softball games, 4 baseball games on the network, all free, thanks to our wonderful sponsors that sponsor us every single day. And we can't wait to continue to cover baseball and softball throughout the season. Like I said, opening day for a lot of teams. Get out there, support them. Make sure you're coming out in full force. If you're at a game, take a selfie, tag us in it. We love to see it on social media. We love engagement with our fans and our audience. If you see one of our announcers out at one of your games, make sure to stop by and tell them hi. They love to interact with the communities that they're covering. So all of that, and more coming up. My voice is excuse me. My voice is telling me, let's wrap up the show. So that's what we will do. Wrapping up the show today. Once again, all those games live on ysnlive.com. We're going to say goodbye today. We want to thank the head coach of the Archbishop Open Knights, Kevin Young, for giving him his time and being interviewed on the show today. And we also will preview tomorrow. We're going to have Scotty Mincher on the show with us. It's always a fun time when Scotty comes aboard on a Wednesday. So we'll be back tomorrow with a recap of all of tonight's action and Scotty Mincher on the show tomorrow from 1 to 2 on Running Point. And as always, we are brought to you very proudly by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Thank you so much for tuning in today.